Welcome to my presentation on the evolution of motion capture in video games. I'll give a definition of motion capture, mention its origins, discuss the process, and speak of how motion capture has been incorporated into games and technology. Motion capture is the process of recording human movement through specialized cameras and then mapping them onto a 3D character model. It is often referred to as mocap, virtual theater, real-time animation, or performance animation. Mocap is a technique widely used across the video game industry in order to create more fluid and versatile character performances. However, the technique itself was born within the film industry, and although we may associate motion capture with blockbusters like Avatar and Lord of the Rings, it all in fact started with Seven Dwarfs. During the creation process of Snow White, animators of Disney would trace over recorded footage of actors acting out scenes in order to more accurately portray human movement in the movie. This process is known as rotoscoping and is the basis for modern motion capture. However, motion capture nowadays is a much more complicated process. Firstly, a studio or designated recording area is set up and fitted with cameras, ranging anywhere from 8+ depending on the size of the project. These cameras are used to record the actor's movements. The actor is fitted with a special suit that is covered in nodes or markers that are carefully positioned. The nodes on the suit are followed by the cameras and the information is triangulated and recorded. This information is then passed on to an animator who creates a digital skeleton that can move just like the actor. So what effect has this had on video games? The application of this procedure has allowed game developers to create characters that move with a greater dexterity and fluidity and an overall more realistic experience. So what games have used motion capture? There are many leading games on the market today that have incorporated motion capture technology. However, two games that received critical acclaim for going above and beyond with their incorporation of mocap are Heavy Rain and LA Noire. Heavy Rain, released in 2010, revolutionized gaming with its expansive storyline, offering gamers a chance to make multiple choices that affected the outcome of the story. But behind the lush graphics and innovative storyline lies motion capture. Heavy Rain is essentially an interactive film, as every scene in the game was acted out through the use of motion capture. Over 170 days worth of shooting resulted in over 30,000 unique animations. Needless to say, being able to apply such a large and unique library of captured actions to a character model will essentially make the character much more human-like, making the experience more realistic, but also allowing us to get attached to the character as the story progresses. LA Noire took the use of motion capture to new heights by using two separate forms of motion capture for both body and facial movement. Motion capture was used to collect data for characters' digital skeletons and combined with data collected from a process known as motion scan. Motion scan is essentially motion capturing facial expressions. The actor is placed on the designated shooting area known as the motion scan rig, where 32 HD cameras that are placed at different heights and distances from the actor collect a 360-degree image. The cameras, which operate at 30 frames per second, translate at about 1 GB of data per second. The information is then sent to 9 computer servers where the data is processed. As a result of this, LA Noire was not only visually stunning but also highly realistic. In-game decisions could be made by judging characters' facial and body expressions, resulting in an experience never before seen in a video game. Microsoft have revolutionized gaming by essentially bringing motion capture to living rooms across the world by developing the Kinect. The Kinect pictured here utilizes motion capture through its use of cameras, sensors, and skeletal mapping. An infrared projector and a CMOS work together to allow the Kinect to map out a room. The video and depth sensor cameras, operating at 30 frames per second, then track 48 points on a player's body and map a digital representation of the player's frame and skeleton structure onto a 3D model. All player movements are then mapped instantly into the virtual world. So what does this mean for gaming? We've come a long way from Pong and Pac-Man. Character models now move in a way that is much more realistic than ever before. Whether it is the building climbing in Assassin's Creed or storming occupied territory in Call of Duty, characters now move with more dexterity and fluidity than ever before. With technology like motion scan allowing developers to incorporate interpretable body language and facial expressions into video games, the blur between reality and the virtual world has never been so fine. The motion tracking capabilities of the Kinect has created a family-friendly gaming market and even further diminished the void between virtual reality and our own.